What's up, world? What's up, Zion? It's Prince Easy coming at you again, as usual. And of course, I do have a couple slides that I want to share with you today, right? As we try to update each other upon the matters that are unfolding on the world as we know it, right? Or rather, as it is being made naked for what it is, right? So before we get to that, I want to issue a disclaimer, right? A fair use disclaimer for all the material that's going to be shared here, right? Under fair use, of course, right? For criticism, education, and whatnot, right? So let's get to it. So as you can see, that was 6 years ago, right? These right here are like prime, to be used. Well, they call it sexual liberation, right? That's the whole movement that the Europeans have been pushing. Well, you know what I call this? I call this man being silent. This is what I call this. Men as in husbands, as in brothers, as in fathers. I see it every time, right? We have been fed this mentality that women are victims, right? So we like feel some type of way when it comes to it, when we have to, I don't know, be harsh, right? I don't have such a problem, but it exists. I've seen it. They have created a vulnerability. Okay, so all of this, all this display is for men's attention. So if they keep doing this, then it's a proven technique. It seems to be working. Hmm? Is that the case? I don't know. Shall circle back to this. Right? He has his opinions, right? Yeah, that's what it is. From their own mouths, right? Last time we had Rubio up in these vlogs here, didn't we? This is not okay, right? I do want your people to succeed and nothing bad to happen to you, but stop it. You have to stop. Know when to stop. And that is this time, right? And I'm hearing now Jordan is becoming now a player now, right? Receiving the American forces, knowing damn well if anything happens, their people is gonna be target. Now I don't know why he did that, but it's all speculation, right? From the person who wanna be Jewish so bad, right? Don't expect anything else. Yeah, this is real life, you know. Again, a lot of finger pointing and stuff. Mm? Mm? The stats, man. People got the stats apparently. Mm? Look at that. Mm? So we shall also circle back to this, connecting to the last one. That's what everybody expect, but the Western America They are not about that. First and foremost, there is this, I don't know what to call it, an extreme exaggeration about the intelligence of so-called artificial intelligence, which does not exist, by the way. This is fear-mongering, right? This is just fear-mongering. Now, for what reason? To what end? Right? Because they come out with these things from time to time. What's the motive behind? That's what you need to examine. Welcome. Welcome. And the simple advice is this. You need to bring the most successful cars from you, I heard, were tiny cars, right? That's what you do. You want to compete with tiny cars, Vitz, and also family cars, right? The Noah type. Those are the two archetypes that's going to be successful here. And have a reasonable price, a good car in range, right? And of course, charging, that's another problem. Maybe you need to invest in the fast charging, right? Skip the normal charging because that has become now redundant at this point. Fast charging, and then on top of that, the battery technology, right? The tiny cars give them a new, at least the family vehicles, to save time. On top of the gas also, which needs to be fully exploited in power production, in vehicles, in it's not there yet, you know. Yeah, tread carefully with this whole ordeal here, right? Because again, it does not give the answers to the most, right, pressing questions. There isn't any guarantee for the recognition of the Palestinian state as we speak, right? They still refuse, the two of them. Right now, I don't know what type of game they are playing with that people over there, but it's a sick game. Yeah, it's good that they're done with speeches, okay? Because at this point, Africans have to wake up, right? Presidents and ministers and the governments in general, here in Africa especially, we have freedom that even the European dream about, to be honest, to explore and to actually do science. The problem is these people are actually crying to be employed as they see that is the only way out. That's the thing. So the problem is, how do we then open their minds to these other avenues? Right? I've been around myself many trades and crafts, let's say. And money is there to be made. But again, people just have to see the opportunities, right? That they are part of the economic evolution of Africa, right? It's not just up to leaders. Right? It doesn't work like that, right? The bigger question is, how are we contributing, right? Especially we who are having bigger conversations about this. Right? Are we in any way part of the solution or part of the problem, like what I've been saying. Brave new world. So this whole ordeal is becoming bigger and bigger. Shall cycle back to it. Right? Yes, there's a lot of stereotyping. Right? Of course, they have a probe. Well, it might be mind-boggling to some people outside of Africa, or not, or even some ignorant Africans. But Museveni is accepted in his country by most people. You have to come to terms with that. Okay? If the people of Iran face hardship and difficulties in their life, one of the main reasons of it is the long-standing enmity and inhumane sanctions imposed by the United States government and its allies. Any aggression against the supreme leader of our country is a tantamount to all-out war against the Iranian nation. Masoud. I can't read that last name. It's a bad grab. Of course, they took the advice, right, and abandoned and signed 7 million something, or billion rather. Quite familiar, huh? We go on increasingly concerned about Canada would not, in his view, be able to adequately defend the borders against a potential Russian or Chinese encroachment, urging the Ottawa should spend more on defense. Or join us, right? Because this is a race that you'll never win, right? Because if you try to appease the said spending in defense, the post will move, right? The goalpost will move to make it unattainable, leaving the one only option for you to join them. So I get it. This dance has been going on from my view, right? From my view, not everybody's view. From my view, right? This is all a big play, right? This is all a big play, right? The people who will fold are in place, right? The people who were supposed to fold are in place, and this is gonna go on and go on and go on and go on and go on. Don't be fooled by the noise and stuff. This is what they're saying. It's a parallel to the UN. That effectively grants unlimited power to the chair. Yeah. This is what is happening. And trust me, people are going to join, right? Like I said, the ones who are meant to fall, they're going to fall, right? Taking their people with them. Mechanism examining the purchase of influence. Standard membership of the board is limited to 3 years and depends on the will of the chairman, right? The restriction is lifted for states that contribute more than that amount. Yeah. Decision will be taken by a majority, which each member state presents getting 1 vote, right? But if they're contributing more, then maybe their vote is worth more, Yeah, since that's the matrix, right? But all would be subject to the chairman's approval. Again, appease me, please. Right? He likes worship, this one. The body is described in the charter as an international organization that seeks to promote stability, restore dependable and lawful. Really, the hypocrisy is glaring, right? And secure, enduring peace in the areas affected or threatened by conflict. The areas that you have created, right? What is this? The creation of a hero movie or something? It will become an official once 3 member states agree to the charter. Orban says the decision is a signal that Hungary efforts for a peace are being recognized. President Trump has invited Hungary to join the work of the Board of Peace as a founding member. We have, of course, accepted his honorable invitation. Yeah, we're gonna see how this plays out. In my opinion, terrible idea. The amoeba. I don't think it's gonna be a threat. Believe that. Why? Why should they upset Muslims? Can they get their message across without upsetting anyone? What is this? Sky News at Australia. Right? What type of activity are you running over there? Yeah, some other groups trying to stay relevant. So at least he's taking credit for his idea, right? So Cuba and all others that are going to be attacked over there, most likely he's the one, right? He's the one that sign off on that whole idea to do what to do to Venezuela. They love him over there, apparently. So, this subject.
The Morocco cheating and corruption were clearly exposed yesterday. They denied stealing towels from the Nigerian goalkeeper, but they went the extra mile against Senegal, dragging towels away from the Senegalese second goalkeeper. The shameful part was that Hakimi was helping them. The reason for stealing the towels was to prevent the goalkeepers from wiping their gloves. After a while, the gloves get slippery, and that can cause a mistake that results in a goal. Sometimes goalkeepers also write their penalty strategies.
That was a whole security personnel. It's a whole conspiracy.
On the towels. And to those who say Brahim Diaz missed on purpose, let me ask you this. Who cheats just to lose? Now Moroccans are vandalizing Senegalese stores, acting like sore losers. Football in the real Africa won yesterday. The Morocco...
Now, this is a meme about how this country here, our country, Tanzania, got out of the game, right? So, some geniuses thought it was a good idea, to manifest what I was asking for, right? Evidence of these, kidnapped Africans that are fighting for Russia, right? Don't get me wrong. There are people who are fighting for Russia for the long-term goal of becoming Russian citizens, right? And that is by state and state, right? Some states allow their people to fight for other countries or don't really care, and some others don't, right? So I cannot speak for the overall situation, right? But the issue is the framing, right? So let's look at this.
Here I am right now. I am in a danger zone because there is like 50 drones. Zinatutafuta. Like ikupata tu.
He says there are like 50 drones looking for him, and when they find you, they drop bombs on you.
And you can hear some sounds our enemies, they are shooting there. I am in a danger zone. So,
Our enemy.
for stand by, me nikiona tu drone.
When I see a drone,
Nikiona tu drone hivi, naipiga risasi.
I shoot at it.
Before nione mimi niangushie bomb. So, if you want to be a Russian military, it's not easy. UK ni wako na technology ya juu sana.
If you want to be a Russian soldier, it's very hard. Ukraine has high technology.
You can hear some bullets. Our enemies, they are still shooting. But now, I am here. I am here. And I have to do it.
Hold up.
Juu sana. You can hear some bullets. Our enemies, they are still shooting. But now, I am here. I am here. And I have to do it.
So apparently, that's a guy on the trenches in Ukraine. I don't know when this video was taken, but there you go, right?
Before in towns, our enemies, they are shooting there.
Oh my God. I have a lot to say, but let me not.
Kenya, the capital of Africa. The people here are always on the move. Crime is a part of their lives. After a long day, this is where they get their meals. East or west, home is best. The first thing I'll do when I get a chance is to leave this country. This place is a mess. We're suffering. I really want to leave this country. I wish I was never born in this country.
And that's the truth.
残念ながら今の日本は植民地、私はそう考えています。大臣はこの国は植民地だと思われますか？
主権国家でございます。
もちろん主権国家という体をしていますけれども、じゃあどうして北方領土帰ってこないんですかって話ですよ。どうして帰ってこないの？北方領土返した後にそこに米軍が置かれるということを懸念したロシア側が返さないわけでしょ。それに対して米軍に基地を置かせない、訓練区域、地域を広げさせないという約束を米軍にさせろっつって日本側はそれはできないっつったんですよ。だから帰ってこないんですよ。自分の国の国土に対してそんなことさえもアメリカに言えないような国なんですから、主権国家なわけないじゃないですか。植民地なんですよ。どうしてアメリカ国内で許されていないような訓練が日本国内で可能になるんですか？超低空飛行、さまざまなことはどうして可能になるんですか？植民地だからですよ。残念ながら今の
Well, circling back to FIFA, there's definitely a problem, right? It comes from the top, going downwards, right? Fueled by racism and wealth It has been corrupted. That's the reality that we have to wake up to. And in that case, we have to find our own way to still have these competitions, but have a fair way of playing. Says Reza, the plan of the whole ordeal. Well, as it appears now, it's a global thing. Let's just say that, for lack of better words, right? All Earth is gonna experience slowing down. Tensions are too high. Let's just say that. Yeah, you'll be at the bottom of the bottle from all the stress that society is producing right now. The terminologies, right? Thread bazookas. And below that, as you can see, apparently global warming is causing sharks' teeth not to be that strong. Another phenomenon that I've seen many times, the using of lasers. Right? They were even used this time. Right? And there have been cases where players have made mistakes because of these lasers, right? Like football is evolving, right? It's becoming more and more warlike, right? Because it has lost sportsmanship, right? It's most like idol-centric, business-like. It's disturbing, right? It has lost touch. So people are employing whatever it takes, or they're doing whatever it takes to win, because the prestige alone has massive benefits, right? Economically, socially, right? In all aspects, we can say, right? Hosting these games, a massive boost to economy. So why won't they auction this opportunity, right? By fixing who gets to actually host, right? People actually pay. Sky News came out swinging. Yeah, the WF is a joke. Been saying that, being like that. Right? Again, like I said many times, unelected bureaucrats. They're trying to dictate how life goes on Earth. He says that now he will not pursue peace. Okay. So let's come to one conclusion, right? Of course, they will not tell the Syrians, but the idea that the so-called US-led international coalition was not aware of this, to me, is kind of a silly idea. So have measures. They either surrender and they're integrated into society, or you're gonna have a problem. Doesn't France have colonies in eastern part of Africa? I remember last time he sent his police officers over there to quench I don't remember that country. So, what are these two Negroes up to? He knows he was not supposed to do that. Right? And of course, from my guy Benny Johnson here, this was attack on his faith. Right? At the end of this whole post here, he says, protect the faith. Yeah, just wait for the punchline. Don't react, don't get involved, even if it's LMLAK, whatever. And he was a fraudulent guy anyway. So guess who got punished? Senegal. After all of the antics that I just shown you that are going on. You know how our deal was settled? Apparently the referee that ran that game of ours was fired. And that's what we get. No reward whatsoever. Well, keep us out of your so-called don't roll whatever. For all of this noise, people should be told at least how many soldiers these Europeans have sent to Greenland. It's either it's a joke or that Greenland is a tiny island. Doesn't need that many people to protect it because you just have to find it for yourself. Right? That compared to the noise that is being made, this is theatrics. This is almost insulting. Like, come on, brothers and sisters, right? This is insulting. Okay, this is insulting. You'll see. Of course, Chernobyl is back. Let me just tell you. And we know why it's back. But it will spell disaster for some individual. Wow. How do they even do that? Right? Especially during campaigns. Is that banner saying mission accomplished? Maybe I'm not saying it right. They did not leak. Right? A person part of the conversation made it public. Was there a clause, right, from his perspective, was there a clause for not to share? Yep, that's what we have. That's the update.
Heating saline alkali land, aiming to grow crops on it, to tackle water hunger and improving the environment. But how is it done? Well, with something as simple as plastic straws. Sounds magical, right? And here's how it works. First, straws are densely inserted into the saline soil. Then the ground is covered with plastic film and filter paper. Sunlight heats the soil. The salty water in the soil evaporates into water vapor and rises up through the straws. When it reaches the filter paper, it condenses into water droplets, while the salt is left behind at the bottom of the straws as solid crystals. After the restoration is complete, the straws are pulled out and the salt can be directly collected and recycled. This achieves the saline land treatment with zero wastewater and zero freshwater use. This is a newly developed approach to salt remediation by Professor Deng Hongbin's research team. In just 3 days, soil salinity can be reduced by as much as 93%.
How?
clearly matching the results of freshwater irrigation. The key point is the cost. It's extremely cheap. $1 can buy about 710 straws, and even better, a single straw can be reused more than 18 times. Even better news has come from the test fields, and the restored land, wheat, and corn are growing lush and healthy. What's interesting is that saline alkali land remediation has long been a global challenge, and now the new method can protect the environment, increase arable land, and reduce farmers' costs at the same time. So, does your country have saline alkali land that could be turned into farmland? With the MEK, who are trained in Albania, 3,000 men. With the MEK, who are trained in Albania, 3,000 men are under training by America in Albania for this assault on Iran, which they hoped would collapse the regime. As always, whether it's Russia, whether it's China, the Western narrative, these states are a house of cards, one little puff, and the whole house will collapse. And that's what they were expecting at this time. I just want to say a word about the nature of it, because one surprise in this was the extreme violence of this small group of rioters. So they would go to a place where a crowd was collecting, a crowded place. They would be told to go there. They would be instructed by the NGOs and others who were controlling the operation. They would go there, and then they would pick on someone, a bystander, not someone involved or anything else, and they'd start beating them. And they'd beat them really severely. And around them, and part of this team, were women who would film it all. And their role was to shout, "Go on, kill him, burn him, burn him." And of course, this attracted more crowds as people were watching this poor man being beaten and attacked and said, "Kill him, he's dangerous, he's a whatever he said he was." And then, of course, the security forces would come, and somewhere in the background, a shot would be fired at the security forces. So the security force then shoot back at whom they assume to be the instigators, but they hit ordinary people. And then they have a riot. The point of this was to show that the establishment was losing control. And the whole thing changed overnight, and it became quite different. And the whole strategic calculus shifts, because not only did Iran cut off the mobile international telephone system and the internet, which they'd done previously, but they cut off Starlink. And, the Americans and Israelis are shocked, because they said, this has never happened. It can't be done. You can't shut down Starlink. Well, it's been shut down. It has been a complete loss of interoperability, and they cannot use it. And the West has put in something like 40,000 Starlink connections, and now the users of those are being arrested and are being taken away, and it's collapsed. So the surprise is on the Iranian side this time, not on the Israeli side, as it was on the 12th of June. The surprise has shifted 180 degrees and taken the Americans, because without that Starlink, they...
Electronic warfare is an important aspect, right? We should have, right, our army in Tanzania. EWs, they call it. Proper jamming and location tracking, right? Back tracing of signals and operators, right? That technically should be like integrated in our situation like yesterday.
Can't manage, they can't run the riot against the establishment. What I hear from Iran was that it's actually a Chinese technology, but the big EW towers that you've seen, these huge things which are from, being used in the Ukraine context, came from Russia. So the big EW electronic warfare towers and equipment, I think, came from Russia. But maybe the actual, but who knows? It doesn't really matter. It worked. And it changes so much, because this has been the key regime change tool of the West. They relied on it, and they thought it was impossible for it to be broken and stopped. And that's what's happened. And the cutting off of the Starlink really shifts the whole calculus.
Yeah, at times like this, transmissions of lessons learned to partners important. I'm gonna play little minutes of this one.
I need you to catch my drift or get on the next wave, okay? I need you to remember Denmark. Denmark owns Greenland. The Greenlandians are Danish. Go figure. I love a Danish. I deployed with a Polish sector too. I love Polish people. Jak się masz? If
you speak Polish. What's up? Corva. So, it makes no sense to anybody. So, PayPal is buying Greenland. I said it, okay? I said it. Listen, this is going to be like a two puff pass type conversation, okay? Two puffs, move on. I need you to follow me here, okay? This sounds nuts. You've probably heard of the PayPal Mafia. PayPal Mafia is like 7 to 8 different current founders, VCs, and investors, policymakers that work nearly as statesmen, technocracy statesmen, within our own administration. So, and these people, I'm only going to mention a few of them here today, seem to be behind a plot to take over Greenland. All right, there's no extra microphones in here.
I shall upload it in the shorts. Are you checking out the shorts? Right. I'm trying to diverse, right? I'm gonna upload more and more shorts. So anyway, let me put a stop to this right here, and we're gonna hear from each other when we hear from each other. Prince Easy signing out. Love you. Bye.